The ancient Egyptians worshipped over 2,000 gods and goddesses. Cleopatra, Egypt's last pharaoh, lived closer to our time than to the building of the pyramids at Giza. Ancient Egyptian bakers sometimes kneaded bread dough with their feet. Ancient Egyptians used to refer their cats as Mio. Ancient Egyptians called their homeland Kemet, meaning black land. It refers to the dark, fertile soil left behind after flooding from the Nile River. Ancient Egyptian men and women of similar social status were lawfully treated equally. Ancient Egyptians made dildos made entirely out of bread. Horse-riding nomadic herders in Central Asia invented pants. A mysterious group known as Sea People ransacked the ancient world, and we still don't know who they were. The Babylonian Code of Hammurabi outlined grotesque punishment for crimes. Romans had an elaborate system of elevators and trapdoors to lift ferocious beasts onto Colosseum floor. In ancient time, women inserted paste made of crocodile dung into their vagina as a contraceptive. Roman poet G.V. Catullus wrote a poem in the 1st century BC that was so obscene that it wasn't translated into English until fairly recently. The swastika was a symbol of spirituality and good fortune across the ancient world. As many as 400,000 people died during the construction of the Great Wall of China in the 3rd century BC. Ancient Egyptians kept baboons as pets. We know very little about the ancient Druids because they banned everyone from writing their knowledge down. Ancient Egypt had the earliest documented governmental healthcare plan. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey is the world's oldest temple at over 11,500 years old. Ancient Romans used urine as mouthwash. There are more pyramids in one small area of Sudan than in all of Egypt. There are more pyramids in one small area of Sudan than in all of Egypt. The ancient sword of Gojan, despite being buried for over 2 millennia, is almost completely preserved. An extremely obscure ancient civilization brought stones 150 miles to help build Stonehenge. The ancient Egyptians invented toothpaste. The ancient Indian practice of sati entails a widow being burned alive on her late husband's funeral pyre. Ancient South Americans, not Egyptians, invented the mummification process. According to the biographer Suetonius, the Roman Emperor Tiberius was a depraved pedophile. Romans spread their own feces in their gardens. Ancient Roman women used a natural contraceptive, the herb called silphium. This man survived the first wave of Pompey's destruction in 79 AD, only to have a boulder fall on his head. This is the world's oldest surviving beer receipt. There are giant, 2,000-year-old hieroglyphics etched into the ground in Peru, and nobody knows what they mean. If a Mesopotamian bride failed to become pregnant on her wedding night, the groom could return the flawed merchandise to her family. Ancients forced their kids' heads to look like ears of corn. The Mayans first consumed chocolate as early as 600 BC. Massive man-made caves in China, dating back to 200 BC, are still a complete mystery. Between 300 BC and 300 AD, the ancient Japanese buried people in jars. Successful rhinoplasty surgeries date back to the 6th century BC in India.